welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Maria and I'm obsessed with building healthy habits, building a small business, and helping you live happier in a more intentional way. Today we're talking all of my favorite business books from the past 5 years of reading. So if that sounds interesting to you, then let's get started. Alright you guys, so one of my good friends, shout out to Gabe Liptak, asked recently what my favorite books were in terms of leadership, healthy habits, and I'm throwing in business because that's more so of what you guys come here for. And so I figured I would just share some of my favorites. I've been reading since 2017 pretty regularly, like at least a book a month. And last year I made a video of all of the books that changed my life, but I figured for today I wanted to keep things very simple, very easy to understand. So I picked my favorite book in each category of business, such as legal and tax and branding, marketing, productivity, networking, all of those things. So that's what I have in store for you today. I'm standing today because I'm sick of sitting. I sat for like 9 hours yesterday and that's just way too much for me. So I'm standing today so that I can move and breathe and feel good because it is sunny in Cleveland, Ohio on February 17th and this is a rare occasion. So again, if you're watching this for the first time, I am a small business owner of the One Ray Guided Wellness Journal brand, where we create daily habit trackers to help you become your happiest and healthiest self, develop a positive mindset, build healthy habits, basically become your best self. And I have built my brand over the last 4 years, but specifically the journals the last 2 years. And so I'm just sharing some videos of how I've gotten this far and how I've built a successful customer base and am making money on my product. Building a customer base, making money, and having really good branding and content are the 3 things that I personally am most interested in because those are the things that actually grow a business. So I figured I would just share some things with you on how I've done it thus far. Let me just be clear with you, I am still making so many mistakes a day. I am in no way qualified to share with you like how this actually goes. I basically just share my story and how I've gotten this far in hopes that it will help you as well. So we're gonna start with the most basic foundation, which is actually learning what a small business is, what kind of tax forms you have to fill out, how to register your business name, blah, blah, blah. And so for that reason, we're gonna go with a more boring book, Small Business for Dummies. I like to learn the landscape of any field that I'm in before I actually get into it. And just because you're an expert on whatever it is that your business stands for, like for me, mine's wellness and healthy habits, doesn't mean you're an expert on building a business. Okay, let's just clarify that because I feel like that often gets messed up. Just because you're great at what you do doesn't mean you're going to be a great business owner. So, for that reason, I'm gonna suggest you go through this rather boring book. I actually like it, like I enjoy learning about this kind of thing. It is pretty dry and basic, but I think that you're gonna find value in it because you're gonna learn what to do before you actually get busy and get customers and have to pack orders and talk to customers and all of that. It's really helpful to know the back end just so that you don't get yourself in a legal predicament because that would be the worst thing. And even though it hasn't happened to you yet, hopefully, you do not want to end up in that situation. So for that reason, I would start with Small Business for Dummies. You can get this at the library or Barnes & Noble or probably any other bookstore, but just so that you cover your bases and know exactly what you're getting into before you actually do. Okay, for the next book, I have to be honest with you, and this is kind of embarrassing to admit actually, but when I was a freshman in high school at 15 years old, I wanted to become an actress on Broadway, in movies. Like my dream was to act and sing and dance, even though I was below subpar in talent on all of those things. I knew from the time that I was young that I would end up in a creative field of some sort. Little did I know I would be actually acting as myself, which I was much better at as opposed to acting as someone else. And I knew I wanted to do something creative, even though my parents were like, hey, we support you, but you're probably not gonna make a lot of money and be able to support yourself by doing something creative, which we can thank the internet for changing the game and the landscape of what working as a creative looks like, considering I'm doing it now. This book at Barnes & Noble that I would sit in my study hall my freshman year of high school and fill out. People around me were probably like, what the heck are you doing? I remember being in high school and being like, oh my God, I'm sitting in a study hall, because as someone that went to Catholic school and Catholic grade school, we did not have study hall. I sat in the same desk for like 6 hours a day. It was fine. So I felt like a real grown-up sitting in study hall, okay? So I filled out this book, and it like helped me get clear on my vision of what I wanted to do, and I wanted to become an actress, and I was dead set on that. And then I remembered this book last year, but couldn't remember what it was called. And then one day I just like woke up and remembered it. And that book is called Creative Girl. This book is about building your dream career as a creative, starting your own business, becoming an Etsy shop owner, whatever it is. It's called Creative Girl, the ultimate guide for turning talent and creativity into a real career. This book came out in 2010. Okay, so I was a freshman in 2010. I went to go look for this on Amazon this past year, and I found one copy, which was this one, and it's written in, so I guess it's used, even though it said it was new. I like don't understand. This book is basically like words that you can read, and it's also fill-ins, so it gives you like journal prompts, the ability to get clear on what you want to do, how to actually grow a business. If you are looking to grow a business as a creative person, I cannot recommend this book enough for clarity. So get clear on what it is you want to do, narrow it down to a couple different things that you're good at, and there's a place for in the market, and something you can make money doing. And so this book was monumental in my childhood, teenhood, to helping me get to where I am today. So definitely recommend. Okay, next book is for public speaking. We talked a little bit about this a couple of weeks ago, but if you really want to get good at public speaking, and I am planning on making a video on that, if that's something you want, please let me know in the comments below. Public speaking can give you so much leverage in your life and your business, and it can just make things like pitching yourself or running an ad or being on camera or being in front of a crowd much easier on you. So my best book recommendation for public speaking is Talk Like TED. This book is full of tactical information and stories on the best speakers from the TED Speaker Series. If you're not familiar, go to TEDxUniversity.com and you can find all of the speeches, which are worldwide, viewed by millions of people, and it's people who are in the top of their field who give these speeches on research, on concepts, and it's a little bit of everything. I really like the psychology portion on like mindset and happiness and all of those things. This book is also by the best-selling author of The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs, who we all know was a fantastic speaker. And so this book will give you some insights into little tips and tricks you can use when speaking, like how to be funny when you're not naturally a funny person, which is so me, I can't even explain it enough. And he talks about being genuine and just how to convey a message while storytelling, while making it relevant to the audience, because a lot of times what makes a speaker good or not is somebody who talks about themselves versus someone who puts the audience in their own shoes so that they make it about them, if that kind of makes sense. That's pretty much the secret behind public speaking, if we're being honest, is being able to relate and connect to the audience in a way that they are put into your shoes while you're telling the story. So that's something you can learn in this book. Again, it's a little bit dry, kind of like the Dummies book, but it's worth it and you should definitely read it. It's by Carmine Gallo. I found it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it at the library. And by the way, if you don't have the extra money to buy the book or you don't want to spend money on the book, go to Libby.com, Libby, because you can get a library card and then rent out either books or audiobooks on one of your devices, and you can read for free without having to leave your house, without having to go to the library. So just a little tidbit for you. Okay, we're gonna take a slight intermission so that I can show you my beautiful flowers that my boyfriend got me for Valentine's Day. They're beautiful and they smell like heaven, and I'm trying to get them some sunlight, but I am obsessed with them. Something about having fresh flowers in the house like makes a humongous difference in my mood. Keep those right there so we can stare at them the whole time. Okay, so the next book I actually did rent from Libby, from my library app, and I don't have the physical copy. The best book, hands down, by far, on marketing and branding is Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. He is fantastic. I love his podcast, and basically he does an incredible job of teaching you how to put the audience in the perspective of a person whose problems are solved by your product. So basically he helps you create demand in your community for your product. Here's the problem that it sells. Here's how to convey that message. Here's how to be genuine and authentic without selling, but still selling at the same time. And I am a humongous fan of his work. He's incredible. So his podcast is called Business Made Easy. And he also has a brand new book out that I have not read yet. That is Business Made Easy. And it's supposedly 60 days of entries of things you can do to build your business and explained in a simple way. So I am excited to read that. But yeah, Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand, incredible for branding. It will change the whole way you think about branding and marketing, and it really makes it about your audience and your community instead of about yourself, which is exactly how it should be. Okay, you guys, next is a longtime fan favorite, and it's something that I did recommend to my friend Gabe that I've talked about ad nauseum. I'm sure you've heard so much about it. The Mecca, Atomic Habits. It has really helped me in my health, but mostly in building a schedule each day that helps give momentum to my business, move my business forward, and it helps me to sit down and get in flow and focus on the most important tasks, even the ones that are not glamorous, which the most important tasks are not glamorous whatsoever. And those very boring and tedious and difficult to focus on tasks for me include pitching myself and my brand to influencers via email, planning my videos, filming my videos, editing my videos, promoting my videos. So basically it's journals and videos, anything that relates to growing both of those things. And this book has helped me to be able to focus on those two objectives even when I don't feel like it, because there's always something more glamorous that I can be doing that I probably shouldn't be because it's not actually moving my business forward. So this book helped me tremendously to be able to focus on what is a priority. Just even things he talks about like habit stacking, so starting a new habit and pumping it up next to another habit that you've already been doing a really good job at. Is such a small thing that we don't even think about. I have learned that it's not helpful to try and overcome my willpower. So willpower is keeping Oreos in your house, in your cupboard, while knowing that you have no self-control when you're around Oreos. So you basically trying to say, I'm gonna keep this really tempting and distracting thing in my house and just hope that I don't overindulge in it. I've learned that's not the most helpful way to exist. I've learned that you cannot overcome your willpower no matter how hard you try. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's probably impossible for an average Joe like you and I. And so he talks about ways to basically hack your willpower and make it so that it's difficult to put yourself in a place of temptation. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but I hope that it does, because I know a lot of people who fail in their attempts to eat healthier or build a business or whatever it is, because they're continually hoping that they can overcome their willpower, even though they probably can't, because it's been evolving for thousands and thousands of years since we were cavemen. And so he explains that in a way that really makes it simple to hack your willpower. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, this is a life-changing book. I read it 2 years ago and I've read it 3 times since then, and I probably will continue to read it every single year. Okay, you guys, the last book that I'm going to share with you is about being more productive in a shorter amount of time. I'm thinking I want to make a whole video on just some simple productivity hacks because I'm pretty good at it in this season of my life. So if you do want to see that, then let me know below. But basically this book has helped me in a way that I never thought I needed. And it's written by, ironically, 2 guys who used to work for YouTube and Gmail, which both are owned by Google, if you're not familiar, and both apps are designed to suck you in and to basically be what they call a distraction loop. So you keep watching new videos, watching new videos, watching new videos, and you forget what time it is, you forget that you're wasting time, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted and I got nothing done because I was so distracted. And that book is called Make Time. So basically they go through all kinds of like drawings, all kinds of techniques to make it difficult on yourself to get sucked into a distraction loop. So for example, I have this whole like model on how to refrain from distraction if you feel yourself constantly addicted to your phone, which guilty. For example, something that would make sense to you without having to read the book is they have a whole section dedicated to slow your inbox so that you don't get sucked into your emails. And the first one is deal with email at the end of the day because you want to save your energy at the beginning of the day for your most important tasks. Schedule in email time each week. Empty your inbox once a week. Pretend messages are letters that you don't have to get back to. Be slow to respond. Reset expectations so people don't expect you to instantly get back to them. I have done this, by the way, and it works fabulously. Set up send-only emails, vacation off the grid, lock yourself out of email. So those are some things that they help you. Again, the topic that I just talked about in Atomic Habits that helps you to hack your willpower so you don't have to rely on it and hope that it just gets better someday. Make Time by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky. It's fantastic. It's a little more strategy-based, whereas Atomic Habits and Creative Girl are both storytelling and kind of talk like TED. Those three are kind of more storytelling, whereas Building a Story Brand, Small Business for Dummies, and Make Time are a little more strategy based. I think there's definitely validity in both, and both categories do have a nice overlapping of storytelling and giving tactical advice. But I can say that from implementing all of the things that I've learned in all of these books, I have found myself to be more successful and more productive in a smaller amount of time each day. If you loved today's video, make sure to hit the like button below and subscribe, as that is the best and at no cost to you way to support your favorite content creators, and I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know which one was your favorite below and which one you want to read.